Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'll be breaking down Du Plessis versus Adesanya 305 full card. First up on the card here, we've got Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. Luana Santos is a replacement for this fight. So with this matchup here, Casey O'Neill is coming off a 2-fight losing streak. She's lost to Ariane Lipsky and Jennifer Mayer. It's not looking too good. I don't really rate her striking too much, to be honest. Even the last fight there, she couldn't really be very accurate with the striking. She was hitting air a lot of the times, a lot of the 1-2s and the leg kicks. It's just enough where she tries to like get her grappling down, where she'll try to get the takedowns against the cage or even the middle of the octagon. So she's more of a grappler than a striker. And that's actually, she's pretty much won her last couple of fights here with Antonina Shevchenko and Lara Fritzen, but had a split decision against Modafferi. I think that really showed the holes of her striking in that game. So yeah, it's not looking too good. She got submitted by Lipsky as well last fight, which is not a good look either. I think these top opponents kind of like showed the holes in Casey O'Neill's game. So going against someone like Luana Santos is on the rise. She's got. I feel like she's got better striking than Casey O'Neill. Like she throws a lot of leg kicks, side kicks, and I feel like her boxing is even better than Casey O'Neill's. She's more accurate. I feel like it, and even in the last fight, it kind of showed that. She's got good takedowns as well. Like she's got some really good judo trips. So I think she'll be using that in this fight too. So some judo trips, and she's got some good BJJ as well. So when she gets this fight, even if this excuse me, even if this fight gets onto the ground, I feel like the grappling will go towards Santos, and I feel like she'll be setting up some submissions, and she could even submit Casey O'Neill in this matchup. She's a lot more well-rounded than Casey O'Neill. I feel like it, just striking wise as well. So I'm gonna go with Luana Santos here. Even just looking at these two fights, I was a bit skeptical of his last. I wasn't too skeptical. I was more fact like thinking how her performance was gonna be, because Luana Santos didn't fight for like a good 7-8 months before that Stephanie Egger fight, and then Maria Agapova doesn't have good takedown defense either. So but yeah, Luana Santos made that easy with the striking and the takedown. So Luana Santos is the pick here. Next up, we've got Jack Jenkins versus Herbert Deans. Jack Jenkins, he is coming off a verbal tap arm injury against Chepe Maresco. Before that, he had a split decision with Jamal Amos. He's a very good striker. Like he's got some nice combinations where he throws a leg kick at the end of his boxing, and he's got some decent grappling as well, and good takedowns. But the only problem with Jack Jenkins is when he does get onto the ground, he loses a lot of positions and he does end up on his back. And that could kind of give away a decision at times as well. So he was lucky to get that fight away from Emmers. And he did the same thing with Don Shane, as he was on his back a couple of times as well. So that is kind of it raises awareness for the bit like that, you know, him losing position on the ground. So, but going against someone like Herbert Burns' strike is not that great. He is a pressure striker, but he doesn't really have great boxing. He just throws like a lot of kicks to the front, kicks to the body, and front kicks to the head. Does enough to kind of set up a takedown against the cage, and he likes to get this fight on the ground because that is his bread and butter. Jiu-jitsu, like he'll grapple and get submissions. So if you see his last couple, the win where he got the wins was mostly submissions, but he did get a TKO over Nate Landwehr with a knee from the clinch. But yeah, he's been knocked out and whatnot. If he can't get this fight on the ground, he's getting knocked out. But I'm a bit skeptical because I'm not too sure if Jack Jenkins how good his BJJ is on the ground. Yeah, if Herbert Burns does get this fight on the ground, he could get a submission, but that's a big if. So, but on the feet, Jack Jenkins has got a better striking, so low confident pick on that because I feel like Herbert Burns could get an upset, but I think Jack Jenkins will be a lot more smart enough to not get taken down on the ground. I think his defense should hold up against Herbert Burns, and he should be able to pick Herbert Burns apart on the stand up or even try to knock him out. So yeah, Jack Jenkins is a pick there. Next up, we've got Kenan Song versus Ricky Glenn. Both guys don't look really good in the UFC right now. Kenan Song doesn't look that great. He's coming off a loss. He was jabbed a lot to a decision by Kevin Uzier. Didn't have any answers for that. Kenan Song's got some good striking. Throws leg kicks and side kicks to the body and a lot of straight shots. But though he's defensively, he's not that great. He did hurt Ian Gary in one of these fights too. But the problem with Kenan Song is he abandons leg kicks. He does well with starting off his fight with leg kicks, but he abandons it and gets into a war. He's got some decent takedown defense as well. Going against someone like Ricky Glenn is more of a sacrificial lamb in the lightweight division right now. He's been knocked out by Drew Dober, Christos Giagos, and had a majority draw. That's probably the last time we've seen him at his best was against Grant Dawson almost 3 years ago. Ricky Glenn, he uses a jab, stays on the outside, and always tries to throw that left hand down the pipe. Hasn't been really working. And he's got some good BJJ as well, so he's very good on setting up submissions on the ground more than what he's good at striking. So if the fight could go on the ground, maybe he could get a submission. But right now, it's not looking good for him on the stand-up. So I think he will get knocked out by Kenan Song in this matchup. Yeah, it's right now, Ricky Glenn's got to save his job, and I don't think that will happen in this fight. So yeah, Kenan Song's a pick here. Next up, we got Stewart Nicoll versus Jesus Aguilar. This is an interesting matchup. Stewart Nicoll, obviously, yeah, he's fighting out of Brisbane, my local. He's a young guy coming to the UFC. He hasn't debuted yet. He's more of a grappler than a stand-up striker, so he's okay defensively in striking, but he does get touched up a bit. I've seen his regional fights here. He's very, very like heavy on shooting takedowns and using the cage for takedowns. And once he does get the fight on the ground, he's very good with his grappling and jiu-jitsu. Last couple of fights, he's had some nice ground and pounds there. So with this matchup here, Jesus Aguilar, I feel like maybe will have the bit of the edge on the striking. Jesus Aguilar's got some like nice combinations on the stand up there, and he's got some very heavy leg kicks. He's the bigger guy in this matchup too. I feel like it. The only problem with Jesus Aguilar is this last fight here. He was getting dominated. He was taken down, ground and pounded. I don't know how he won that split decision. It should have been Mateusz Gamrot winning that fight. I feel like Aguilar was gifted with that fight there, so not a good look. Knocked out Shannon Ross, but no offense to Shannon Ross, he got knocked out by everyone in the division. He's got submitted by Tetsuro Tora. Tora's up there, so that's fair enough for that loss. And he's pretty much a legit win there is Erickson Ferreira. So yeah, if I was a betting man, don't be fooled. Don't be going with Jesus Aguilar, because this last win just doesn't look good, because his takedown defense doesn't look good, to be honest. He's been controlled. He's been ground and pounded. He's decent offensively wrestling, but yeah, offensively, but defensively he gets taken down a fair bit. So Stewart Nicoll is the pick here. It's a bit of a low confidence pick, but I'm going by Stewart Nicoll, obviously getting the fight to the ground and using his grappling and using his jiu-jitsu. So I think he could use his Aguilar out of there if he played it smart and not stay in the striking battle and stand up there. Yeah. So yeah, that's a low confidence pick with Nicoll here. I just feel like Jesus Aguilar has been gifted that last decision. It's not a really good look. So yeah. Next up, we've got Josh Culibao versus Ricardo Ramos. Josh Culibao here, he's coming up a losing streak there against Danny Silva, Lerone Murphy. So with Josh Culibao here, he's okay. I don't really rate him too high. He was looking good early in his career, but lately, like, yeah, he's just been losing. Like, he's been taken down a lot too. So Josh Culibao, his striking's okay. Does a lot of jabs. Moves around a lot on the outside. So more of a point fighter. He's got some deep knockouts too, and he's got some good submissions on the ground there too as well in his last fights. But yeah, I just don't really rate him too well. He's got a lot of holes in his takedowns. You've seen the Lerone Murphy fight. He was put up against the cage when he was. When he was against the cage, he had no answers. He was taken down. He was controlled. He does get up on his feet, but takes him a bit. So it's a bit of a weird one. But he's going against more of a striker in this matchup than a grappler. Ricardo Ramos, I think this is more of a tailor-made for Josh Culibao. Ricardo Ramos doesn't look good. He was doing decent against Rosa. He was literally taken down. He did a flying knee, then was taken down and got submitted by a guillotine choke by Rosa. And then submitted by Jourdain. And his only decent win was 2 years ago against Chavez. So he's got some he's got some decent striking with some straight shots, and he mixed up his leg kicks, but defensively he does get hit a fair bit, and he gets taken down a fair bit as well. So, and he's been submitted by everyone. Not everyone, but yeah, he's on a submission streak loss up there at the moment. So I feel like Josh Culibao will keep this on the feet and maybe even get a knockout in this one. So Josh Culibao is the pick here. Next up, we've got Justin Tafa versus Valter Walker. It's another tailor-made matchup for Justin Tafa here. UFC is trying to make the Aussies look good in their own backyard. Fair enough. Justin Tafa here, very good striker, very good hand speed. Not bad footwork for the heavyweights, but gets taken down a lot. So he was taken down by Marcos Rodriguez de Lima. And also, he was eating all those fucking leg kicks. Yes, it was a last-minute replacement, but just seeing him eat those leg kicks and get taken down is not a good look. He's got a knockout over Parker Porter. Parker Porter's a flat-footed guy. Parker Porter should have used his wrestling, but he didn't. Sorry. And was taken down by Muhammad Usman as well. And Muhammad Usman, he did tag up Muhammad Usman on the feet there. And Muhammad's like, fuck this, I'm shooting takedown. So yes, his takedown defense got holes there. They need to be cleaned up a lot. But again, he's still new to the UFC. And he's going against a guy that is more of a grappler and a wrestler and got good BJJ. He does have knockouts, Valter Walker, on the outside of the UFC. But if you see that last fight against Lucas Brzezinski, he did not look good. He was getting outstruck by Lucas Brzezinski against the cage. He was folding. Defensively didn't look good on the striking there, and he did get some takedowns and he had some decent grappling, but striking, it just did not look good there, because Brzezinski, if you look at him, he's lost to literally every fucking one in the heavyweight division. I don't rate him at all, Brzezinski. So so Tafa's a pick here. It's more so if Tafa, I feel like will be able to close the distance and get the knockout. But yes, he may get taken down in the first round or second round, but I feel like he will find the knockout. I just don't think Valter Walker is good at all in the striking. So that's just me based on his last fight in the UFC, and even these regional ones, I just don't rate his striking really that great. I feel like Tafa's got the edge on striking, but look, if Tafa loses, it's because he's been out grappled and whatnot and taken to a decision by Valter Walker. So low confidence pick, just as shit Tafa's takedown defenses. So Tafa's the go here by knockout. Next up, we've got Tom Nolan versus Alex Reyes, another tailor-made matchup for Aussie prospect to knock out, the American. So it's a bit of a shit show, this card here, where the UFC's put together a lot of Aussies to look good by taking out these other opponents that don't really look good in the UFC. So if you do your research and your homework, you will see how much how good the Aussies got in this card. It's bullshit, but yeah, it is what it is. Another guy from our local, Tom Nolan, coming off a win there against Victor Martinez. He had a knee to the ground strike set, but yeah, he's a guy that stays on the outside, uses leg kicks and front kicks to the body, uses a lot of straight shots. He's a very tall guy. He also was taken down that last fight, and he was throwing a lot of elbows from his back. So, and he can also set up submissions there too. So, not too bad. A little bit of a Tony Ferguson style there, from his back, but I wouldn't rate him as a Tony Ferguson, to be honest. And he's been knocked out against Motta. That's the only issue in this with Tom Nolan, is his chin straight up in the fucking air. So if you watch that fight there when he got knocked out by Motta, you'd be like, okay, yeah, he could get chinned by some not good strikers in the lightweight division. So he's gonna have to work with the head movement and the tucking that chin a bit. But again, tall guys, I've noticed, do leave that chin pretty high up in the UFC in general. Going against someone like Alex Reyes here. Alex Reyes has been knocked out by Charlie Campbell. He's got knocked out by Perry. His last legit win was a long time ago, 7 years ago. He's a brother of Dominic Reyes. He is coming on the arse end of his career, almost at 38 years old. He's got some good footwork, moving on the outside, like mix up his leg kicks with front kicks. He's got some really good output. But the problem is when that distance get close, he gets chinned. So this is this is not a good look for Alex Reyes here. He's gonna get knocked out, I think. So but also, you know, Alex Reyes might prove us wrong and close the distance and knock Tom Nolan out, because Nolan hangs his fucking chin up high. So I'm gonna go with Tom Nolan by knockout here. Hopefully he has tucked that chin a bit and learnt from the Nicholas Motta loss there. So yeah, Tom Nolan's a pick here, because I feel like Reyes is more of a sacrificial lamb in this matchup. Feel bad for him, to be honest. Next up, we got main card here. Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. So Gamrot's there coming off a winning streak. It's a bit of a weird career with this one. I hope he starts moving up the rankings a bit. He took out Rafael dos Anjos, which was ranked number 11 at the time, and now he's fighting another ranked 11 Dan Hooker that's ranked 11 at the moment on the UFC rankings. Doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Probably mostly why the lightweight division don't want to fight with each other, or they're booked out, which is fair enough. So Gamrot here, he's more of a counter striker. I wouldn't even call him. Yeah, I feel like he's more of a counter striker. Like, he'll move on the outside. He'll do enough to throw some combinations. I wouldn't call him an elite striker. He would do enough to close the distance and time that takedown. It's what he did with Dos Anjos. He'll constantly move left and right on the outside, and he would time his takedown. So he's quite tricky like that. He took Dos Anjos to school like that. He had a TKO leg injury by Plessis. He done well. The leg hit the fucking elbow there of Gamrot, and he had a split decision win over Turner. So that, a lot of people thought Turner won there, now struck him, and he lost to Benil Darius. So this is an interesting matchup. Dan Hooker, obviously coming from City Kickboxing, he will be, stay on the outside, throwing leg kicks, mixed up body kicks and front kicks, and using a lot of straight shots. Offensively, he's a great striker, Dan Hooker, but again, his defense goes out the window because he gets caught up into wars. If you see his career at the moment, he's had a split decision win over Turner. That could have went either way, but he will easily be beating anyone at a top 15 that's unranked. He beat Nasrat, took him down, and mixed up his striking. So he's a lot more composed when it comes to guys outside of ranked. But as soon as it's a ranked opponent, and if he is doing well, he'll just get in a war like the second round. It's fucking insane. But yeah, that's Dan Hooker for you. So he was taken down in the Islam fight there and submitted, and he lost to Arnold Allen because he dropped a featherweight. So with this fight here, I feel like Gamrot's going to play the smart game. Yeah, he may get his leg chopped up a bit. If I was Dan Hooker, I would chop his legs on early on to cut that movement out, so it'd be harder for Gamrot to shoot takedowns. But I feel like Gamrot's going to be too smart, and he's going to constantly move on the outside, switch stands, and even like just do enough to close the distance to get his takedown. So I do rate Gamrot's wrestling and grappling. So I feel like if he gets this fight to the ground, I do think that Dan Hooker will kind of struggle a bit there. So it's right there on the platter for him if he watches the Islam fight, set up the try to get Dan Hook on the back foot and even get him near the cage and then set up his takedowns there. But easier said than done, right? But I feel like Gamrot will get it done and he's quite smart. So Gamrot's the pick here by decision, unless Dan Hook has got some miracle knockout. Next up, we've got Jingliang Li versus Carlos Prates. This is a really good matchup. Jingliang is on the end of his career. He had a split loss there against Daniel Rodriguez. It was an overnight matchup because it was on the Nate Diaz versus Khamzat. Khamzat went overweight and literally fucked up the whole card. And Khamzat, I don't agree with, is now getting matched up with Robert Whittaker again. He's getting all these handouts at the moment. I feel like Khamzat should be fighting someone like Costa that's coming off a loss and build his way up to the rankings and not getting things handed onto a platter with him. But if you guys don't like that sort of criticism towards Khamzat, I understand, but I think that he's getting things hand fed to him right now at the moment. So yeah, he fucked up a whole card and yeah, he's getting things handed to him. Anyways, win over Muslim Salikov there with a TKO 2 years ago, which is not a good look, and lost to Khamzat. So with Jingliang here, his striking is okay. He's mixed up with leg kicks with a lot of straight shots, constantly moving on the outside. The problem is I don't feel like he's going to throw too much output here compared to Carlos Prates. Prates is a guy that's very tall for the division, so Carlos Prates is going to be like constantly moving the outside, throwing leg kicks, oblique kicks, front kicks, kicks to the body, constantly switching stance. He's got some good takedown defense as well, and he used the jab a lot in his last fight. So yeah, I think, and he's got a lot more output compared to Lee. So I think he's gonna win on points here. Prates, I don't think he'll knock Jingliang out. Jingliang Li hasn't been knocked out in the UFC. He has lost some decisions and he has been lost some by submission, so that's quite decent for someone like Lee to not get knocked out in the UFC. So that's not bad, I guess, especially in the welterweight division. So yeah, Carlos Prates, he's on a win streak here. If you saw that Radko fight, he put his arm out and he was like teasing Radko, and then bang, knee to the body and finished off Radko. So it is a big step up from Radko to Jingliang Li, but I feel like he's going to be a tricky opponent for Jingliang Li. Just the way his movement is on the outside and mix up his leg kicks and the straight shots there. So I think he will give Liang problems with his jab as well. So Carlos Prates is the pick here by decision. And next up, we've got Tai Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Tuivasa does not look good. 4 straight losses and he's still in the UFC. I don't know how. Yeah, this is fucking insane, man. Look, I like Tuivasa, but come on, dude. So yeah, taking down the last fight, submitted, not a good look. Submitted by Volkov, knocked out by Sergey. It was a quick turnaround after Gane. He got completely decimated with his kickboxing, and he did drop Gane, but that was like his highlight, and that was about it. Sorry about that. I'm just coughing and shit. So, but yeah, Tuivasa, guys, comes in just when he was doing decent, he was mixing up his leg kicks and you know, using the jab and throwing the right hand behind it, and he would clinch and wear his ponies and whatnot when he was in Abu Dhabi. But it seems like that's all going out the window a bit, where he's setting up his grappling and whatnot. But yeah, it's just not now. He's not looking good. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik is gonna treat this matchup like his last fight, Shamil Gaziev, where he's constantly moving on the outside and throwing leg kicks, using his counter left, and yeah, and just constantly do that and pick Tai Tuivasa apart with the leg kicks and his counter striking. So, you know, he showed that he belongs in the top 15 by beating Gaziev. And yeah, unless Tai Tuivasa ends up, you know, landing a big shot on Jairzinho, but I think he will have some trouble with Jairzinho constantly moving on the outside and picking Tuivasa apart with the leg kicks, and in his counter shot. So yeah, Rozenstruik is the pick here by, I wouldn't say TKO. Oh yeah, maybe a late TKO. Yeah, I could see Tuivasa gassing out a bit at the end. People picking Tuivasa, fair enough. The fight could go either way. Like I said, Tuivasa. This fight is more tailor-made for Tuivasa because there's no grappling and wrestling. But Jairzinho can get caught as well. So, but I'm gonna go with Jairzinho here. Low confidence pick because it can go either way. Next up, we've got Kara France versus Steve Erceg. This is a hard matchup. This is a very 50-50 fight. Oh shit, people picking Erceg really heavily. I just feel like could go either way. Kara hasn't really been busy. He's had a year off. He had some injuries, had some concussion. He was matched up with Cape, but pulled out with concussion, which is fair enough. Kara, he's been around the sport for a while now. He's still pretty young there. He's only 31 years old. That loss there is bullshit. If you guys watched the fight, Albazi did not win that fight. And if anyone tries to argue with me they won the fight, he did not. He fucking nowhere near won that fight. He maybe got one round and that was it. He was outstruck and he probably won that one round where he out-grappled Kara France. But fuck, that was a ridiculous robbery. That robbery was almost bad as the Holy Home versus Ketlin Vera. That's how fucking bad it was. But yeah, if anyone says Albazi wins that fight, go, mate, you fucking got eyes on the back of your head. That was a ridiculous robbery, man. That was the worst robbery I've seen. But yeah, Kara, like, he's more of a counter striker, stays on the outside, throws leg kicks in the pocket, obviously come from the city kickboxing background, and very, very good with his straight jab, and very good on throwing that overhand right. So he's got some nice combinations there as well. I feel like Steve Erceg maybe is the better striker in this matchup and better at closing the distance. But yeah, he could get countered by Kara France as well. Steve Erceg does get touched up a bit too, and if you've seen his Costa fight, he did get touched up a bit. And even in the Pandoja one, he got taken down and whatnot. Erceg, as much as he's good, he does have holes in his game as well, defensively in the striking. Yeah, even the Costa one, he got hurt there as well. So if anyone's going to grapple, it'll be Steve Erceg. He does use a bit of grappling and puts his opponents against the cage and tries to wear him down, even throws knees and whatnot. But yeah, he gets touched up a bit. It's a hard matchup one. It's going to come down to, obviously, I don't know if anyone's going to get knocked out here. I'm not sure. The leg kicks from Kara might make the difference in this fight when they're standing in the pocket. Steve Erceg, I feel like his combinations to the body and the head are quite nice. It's going to be a tough fight to call, to be honest. It really is. I'm going to have to go with Kara here. I feel like he's better defensive with striker. He's more better defense on the stand-up compared to Erceg, I feel like. Much as Erceg's nice with his hands, but I've seen him get touched up a bit. So I'm going to go with Kara France here. I think his veteran experience will pay off in this one. But yeah, I wouldn't count out Erceg as well. So yeah, I know you guys are going to... I know the Aussies are going to hate me and go, fuck, mate, you're Aussie yourself. You're going against the Aussie. Yes, I am. I'm sorry. Anyways, next up, we've got Dricus Du Plessis versus Adesanya, the main event. It's an interesting matchup. So, Du Plessis, a lot of people thought he lost the last fight. A lot of people said that Strickland won. From my take, is Strickland didn't do enough to keep the belt. Du Plessis didn't do enough. Yeah, it was a weird one. It's a weird one. I feel like Du Plessis was more of the aggressor in that fight, to be honest. Yeah, probably would have lost. He probably did lose, but he was more of the aggressor, I feel like, in that fight. He did well. He does well with, like, staying on the outside, mixed up his leg kicks, and, like, it mixes up his high kicks as well. Creates different angles as well when he comes in. Yeah, his striking wasn't that great compared to Strickland's last one, but yeah. He always finds a way to win. Like, He'll come in, he'll kind of not, I wouldn't say lunge in, but yeah, he knows how to close the distance pretty well. So he gives different looks with the switch stance, and yeah, and he'll mix up his wrestling there. So that was a close fight, the last one. And he's got some good BJJ as well. So he gave Robert Whittaker problems. That's quite a big fucking deal, to be honest. You know, the fight with the ground, he put Robert Whittaker in some nice submission threats there. I think it was a Darce choke. I wasn't too sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Darce choke. He almost had Robert Whittaker in. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if the type of choke it was he had Robert Whittaker in. But yeah, he's a very well-rounded guy, so he's a threat on the ground there. He's got some nice takedowns as well. And yeah, he's got some really good BJJ as well. So he's very well-rounded. He's definitely up there for a middleweight. So obviously because he's a champ. It's a bit of a hard matchup because just with Israel Adesanya, as much as if he sees his inactivity and yeah I feel like he's coming out of his prime a bit. That last fight, like if you look at it, when he got dropped, the equilibrium was off. I'm not making excuses, but once your equilibrium off, like it's hard to kind of focus. You know, he saw 5 people or some shit. I'm not a fighter, but this is what he said. Like that coach has said and shit. Saw 5 of Strickland's and the senses were all off. He just didn't know where he was, so struggled. Yeah, he was more of a counter striker. You know, we know what Adesanya does. Moves on the, you know, he's on the circles on the outside. You know, throwing leg kicks, feints, and switch stance. Pops out his jab. Wouldn't say he's got that elite striking, but yeah, pops out his jab and waits for his opponents and looking for counters, right? Targets the body as well with the leg kicks. Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one. It's got good takedown defense. So I don't know if Dricus be able to get him to the ground too. So that might not happen. It's too close to call, man. It's a 50-50 fight. I just don't know which way it's gonna go. But obviously, Dricus being more active fighter compared to Izzy. I just don't know what Izzy's worked on since he's been off. Obviously, he's striking, right? Offensive boxing. From what I've seen on the video as well, he's put up some video of him doing inside trips and shit like that from the clinch. But fuck, like I don't know how that. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what type of Izzy we're gonna get. So I'm gonna go with Dricus Du Plessis. Yes, hate me. I just feel like if he doesn't get knocked out, the judges might see Du Plessis being the aggressor. But fuck, if we get the old Izzy, man, then yeah, Israel will win. So, you know, if you see his last couple wins, he got a counter right, but his legs were getting chopped up there, and he had a TKO. He was doing well, out grappling Pereira, even almost knocked him out before that bell rang. And then yeah, lost there at the end, the 5th round, and then yeah, last legit win was kind of near. So it's a bit of a skeptical one. I just don't know what type of Izzy we're gonna get, and I can't underestimate either guy because Israel Adesanya, what he's done to the middleweight division is fucking crazy. And then Du Plessis just somehow finds a way to fucking win, and he's well rounded too. So, and he's a younger guy in this matchup. So, yeah, guys, you might hate me, but I'm gonna go with Du Plessis on this matchup. I feel like the constant switch stances, closing the distance, it might put off Izzy a bit there too. And yeah, I don't think he'll take this fight to the ground. So I'm gonna have to go with Du Plessis. I do apologize, guys. But it's a 50-50 fight. Like I said, I just don't know where Izzy's mindset's at and what he's gonna come bringing into this fight. If he does get a win, kudos to him. He definitely has it. But if he doesn't, then obviously it's not a good look, yeah. So yeah, Du Plessis is the pick here, low confidence pick, because I just feel like it's a 50-50 fight because I can't underestimate both of these guys, where they are in the UFC and the career that Israel's got. So yeah, he's one of the best middleweight champions ever to do it. I wouldn't say he's the best middleweight because Silva's quite up there as well. So, but yeah, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this pick. Longer video this time. but yeah, a little bit longer. But yeah, those are the picks. Hope you enjoyed that breakdown. Hit the hot like and subscribe, and we'll be back with another video. Later on, I'll do some Bellator videos towards September. I was going to do PFL, but I just feel like, I don't know, I just don't really dig the PFL roster at the moment. So maybe if they do expand and get a bit bigger in Africa and whatnot, and just, yeah, I feel like if the roster gets a bit more deeper, I will start doing it. But I feel like the Bellator roster is a bit more better, so I'll do Bellator cards, and I'll do some Risen cards as well. So I feel like they're a lot more entertaining than PFL. So, but that's me. But anyways, guys, we'll be back with another video. Like I said, hit the like, subscribe, and take it easy.